Every time you stop at a traffic signal, you are compelled to cover your nose or else you end up breathing polluted air. But what does the term pollution mean? Pollution, simply put, is an undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological characteristics of air, water, land or soil that may have detrimental effects on living organisms. Substances that bring about such undesirable changes are called pollutants. The air we breathe has become highly polluted over the last decade due to air pollutants such as automobile exhausts, chemicals and toxic gases from industries, and natural particulate matter such as dust, pollen and ash. These pollutants not only pollute the air, but also have detrimental effects on all living organisms. Depending on the concentration of the pollutants and the duration of exposure, plants and animals are affected in different ways. When plants are exposed to polluted air, they may exhibit leaf blade damage, cellular collapse, premature aging, reduced growth and crop yields, or the plants may even die. Like plants, the harmful effects of air pollutants are seen in animals, including human beings. Eye and nasal irritation, headache, shortness of breath, and respiratory diseases are some of the harmful effects of air pollutants. Every year, the health of people and roadside plants has been deteriorating due to a continuous rise in air pollution. So, how do we make our environment healthier? In 1986, our government passed the Environment Protection Act with a view to take preventive actions to control environmental pollution. This act made several industries and smelters adopt various methods to separate or filter particulate and gaseous matter that were released into the atmosphere through their smokestacks. One of the most widely used methods to filter particulate matter uses an electrostatic precipitator which is capable of removing over 99% of particulate matter present in industrial exhaust. Another method requires the use of scrubbers. However, this method is incapable of removing very tiny particulate matter. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, or CPCB, particulate matter measuring 2.5 micrometers or less in diameter is responsible for causing many respiratory diseases. Apart from pollutants released from industries, automobile exhausts are also a potent source of air pollution. With the ever-increasing number of vehicles in our country, it has become essential to take proper measures to minimize the release of vehicular exhausts. For instance, the use of catalytic converters and unleaded petrol or diesel has helped reduce vehicular pollution considerably. Did you know that catalytic converters contain catalysts made of expensive metals such as platinum, palladium, and rhodium? When fitted into vehicles, a catalytic converter changes poisonous exhaust gases such as unburnt hydrocarbons into carbon dioxide and water. Likewise, carbon monoxide and nitric oxide are converted into carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas respectively. Catalytic converters thus reduce the emission of poisonous gases. However, vehicles fitted with catalytic converters should use unleaded petrol, as lead in the petrol inactivates the catalyst. In addition, the use of compressed natural gas or CNG has also proved very helpful in reducing air pollution. Interestingly, the use of CNG was accelerated when a public interest litigation was filed in the Supreme Court of India due to serious air pollution problems in Delhi in the 1990s. The court asked the government to take appropriate measures in a specified time frame, which also included converting all diesel buses to CNG buses. In fact, by the end of 2002, all buses in Delhi were running on cheaper and more efficient CNG. Besides the use of CNG, unleaded petrol and catalytic converters, the government of Delhi has also taken several other measures to control air pollution. This includes the use of low-sulfur petrol and diesel and the implementation of stringent pollution level norms for vehicles. Moreover, the Indian government formulated a new auto fuel policy to reduce vehicular pollution in other cities as well. This policy was based on the European standards or Euro norms and took effect in 2000. These norms are more stringent and required vehicle engines to be upgraded. The implementation of these stringent norms has considerably improved air quality. However, another air pollutant, noise, also required serious attention, and so amendments were made to the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, which was implemented in India in 1981 to include noise as an air pollutant. Noise is an undesirable high level of sound which has an adverse effect on human beings. Studies show that exposure to a sound level of 150 decibels or more may damage the eardrum, thereby permanently impairing hearing ability. In fact, even prolonged exposure to lower sound levels, such as drilling and industrial noise, could have the same effect. Noise also causes sleeplessness, stress, increased heartbeat, and an altered breathing pattern. Considering these harmful effects, the government has taken stringent measures to regulate sound levels in cities as well as industrial belts. For instance, in cities, the areas around hospitals and schools have been declared no horn zones, and time limits have been set for the use of loudspeakers. Industries have also been encouraged to use sound-absorbent materials, and workers too, who are exposed to loud sound levels, are being encouraged by the government to use earmuffs. Although our country has several legislative measures to prevent and control air pollution, it is our individual responsibility to control pollution levels to ensure a healthy environment. Did you know that less than 1% of the fresh water on Earth can be directly used for human consumption? Rapid urbanization and industrialization has brought into focus the consequences of environmental pollution. The problem is enhanced by the fact that most water bodies have become contaminated with a variety of pollutants. Pollutants flowing into water bodies are broadly classified as domestic sewage and industrial effluents. The term domestic sewage refers to wastewater that drains from houses in a town or city. This domestic sewage contains about 99.9% water and 0.1% impurities such as suspended soils, colloidal and dissolved materials. Sadly, this small percentage of impurities makes water unfit for human consumption. Every town or city has sewage treatment plants for the removal of these pollutants before they are released into rivers or the sea. The removal of solids is relatively easy compared to dissolved salts such as nitrates and phosphates, and toxic metals such as lead and mercury, and organic compounds such as dyes and pesticides. Apart from these pollutants, microorganisms also form a primary component of the sewage. These microorganisms decompose and treat the organic sewage matter by using it as a substrate to multiply. However, during this process of decomposition, microorganisms require a lot of oxygen, which is measured in terms of biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD. The concentration of BOD in the sewage water discharged into the water is high. A high concentration of BOD automatically translates into low amounts of dissolved oxygen, or DO, as depicted in this graph. High BOD and low DO ultimately cause the death of fish and other aquatic creatures. Another reason for the mortality of aquatic fauna is algal bloom formed due to large amounts of nutrients such as ammonia, nitrates, nitrites, and phosphates in water. These algal blooms impart a distinct color and odor to the water bodies. Moreover, they deplete all the dissolved oxygen vital for aquatic life. Besides these floating algal blooms, you also see plants such as water cabbage and water hyacinth floating on water bodies. Decades ago, these plants were introduced in water for their beautiful shape and flowers. However, they have now become troublesome aquatic weeds that are spreading rapidly and causing an imbalance in the ecosystem dynamics of water bodies. In addition to sewage, human activities such as agricultural runoff accelerate the aging process of lakes. This phenomenon is called cultural or accelerated eutrophication. Sewage wastes may also contain pathogenic protozoa, bacteria, and viruses that are discharged from hospitals and houses into the water, which may cause the outbreak of serious diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, jaundice, and cholera. Apart from domestic sewage, industrial effluents also pollute water bodies. Biomagnification is an increase in the concentration of a toxicant at successive trophic levels. For example, biomagnification of DDT in an aquatic food chain including zooplankton, small fish, large fish, and fish-eating birds is as shown in the diagram. High concentration of DDT disturbs calcium metabolism in birds, which causes thinning of eggshells and their premature breaking. This eventually results in a decline in bird population. Apart from releasing toxic pollutants, industries such as thermal power plants also release heated or thermal wastewater into water bodies. This wastewater has various adverse effects on aquatic life. It can kill or reduce the number of organisms sensitive to high temperatures, and can also damage indigenous flora and fauna. Apart from thermal wastes, oil spills too can contaminate water bodies and, in the process, kill aquatic life. The decomposition of these dead organisms further depletes the water's dissolved oxygen, choking the water body to death. We human beings have been polluting water in various ways, and without stringent measures, it will be difficult to protect it. Industries such as paper manufacturing, petroleum, sugar and textile mills release tons of wastewater that contain toxic metals such as lead, mercury and copper, along with detergents, alcohol and acids into water bodies. These pollutants are highly toxic to aquatic fauna and other animals, including human beings. An example of water toxicity and its effects can be seen in Japan. In the 1950s, several people fell ill and even died due to the consumption of mercury-contaminated fish. This toxic methyl mercury was released into the water by industries, which caused the Minamata disease that caused numbness of limbs, lips, blurring of vision, and mental disorders. Toxic substances such as mercury, cyanide, and DDT are not biodegradable and get incorporated into the food chain, causing biomagnification of the toxicant. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. This situation may soon turn into a reality if we don't take steps to control water pollution, which is the result of rapid urbanization and industrialization in the last few decades. The problem of water pollution has worsened ever since large quantities of domestic sewage and industrial wastes have been dumped into water bodies. Realizing the importance of clean water, the government passed the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in 1974. This act made it mandatory to treat wastewater in treatment plants. The treatment consists of 3 stages: primary, secondary, and tertiary. In fact, most cities in the world have developed a combination of natural and artificial processes to treat wastewater. Let us take a look at such integrated wastewater treatment in Arcata, situated along the northern coast of California. To find a solution to wastewater, the people of Arcata collaborated with biologists from the Humboldt State University to integrate wastewater treatment within a natural system. The wastewater was treated in 2 stages. The first stage included treatments like conventional sedimentation, filtration, and chlorination. While in the second stage, the wastewater was passed through 6 connected marshes spread over 60 hectares of marshland. These marshes were developed using appropriate plants, algae, fungi, and bacteria suggested by the biologists. As wastewater passed through the series of marshes, it was naturally purified by plants, algae, fungi, and bacteria, which helped to neutralize, absorb, and assimilate the toxic pollutants such as heavy metals. Besides cleaning the wastewater, these marshes have developed into a sanctuary with a large number of fish, animals, and birds inhabiting them, thereby increasing the biodiversity of this region. This sanctuary was taken care of by a citizens group called Friends of the Arcata Marsh. In this manner, the people of Arcata were able to treat the wastewater they generated. Do you know how much wastewater is used or generated by an individual daily? Close to 150 liters. In fact, a large amount of water is used in toilets. What if you could save that amount of water? The answer is ecological sanitation, or EcoSan, a sustainable system for handling human excreta by using dry composting toilets. Such EcoSan toilets not only eliminate wastewater generation, but are also practical, hygienic, efficient, and cost-effective. In addition, the natural fertilizer produced from recycled human excreta is used in fields, which forms an excellent substitute for harmful chemical fertilizers. At present, this system is being efficiently used in many areas in Kerala and Sri Lanka. In this manner, integrating natural systems to treat wastewater is an efficient, practical, and cost-effective way to handle, prevent, and reduce water pollution. Anything you throw in your trash bin, whether paper, plastics, glass, metals, rubber, leather, textiles, and leftover food, is known as solid waste. Such solid wastes are dumped in large garbage bins placed in your locality. Apart from households, waste is also generated by offices, schools, and hospitals, which is called municipal solid waste. This waste is then collected by the municipality and ultimately dumped far away from the city. For years, municipal solid wastes have been dumped in open lands outside towns and cities. Heaps of solid wastes were burnt to reduce the volume. However, this waste was not completely burnt and soon became a breeding ground for rats and flies. Later, open dumping grounds were replaced by sanitary landfills, in which wastes were compacted and dumped in a depression or trench. Sadly, these landfills did not provide an answer to the increasing amount of municipal solid wastes, as the landfills filled up faster than expected. Moreover, leaching of harmful chemicals from these landfills was also contaminating groundwater. So, what is the best way to handle solid waste? The best way is to segregate it into three categories: recyclable, biodegradable, and non-biodegradable. Recyclable or reusable wastes such as glass bottles, some types of plastics, and paper can be given to rag pickers. while biodegradable wastes such as vegetable, fruit and food wastes can be put into composting pits in gardens. The remaining non-biodegradable wastes such as plastic, thermocol, chemicals and paints need to be carefully handled. In fact, plastic is one of the main components of municipal solid waste, as its use in packaging has increased tremendously in the last few years. For instance, this chocolate is wrapped in 2 protective layers of plastic. Similarly, most food items are packaged in multiple layers of plastic. Moreover, the use of plastic bags has significantly contributed to environmental pollution, as it has choked drainage pipes and caused severe land pollution. State governments across the country have therefore taken serious steps to reduce the use of plastic bags and have encouraged the use of eco-friendly bags. A highly commendable effort taken by Ahmad Khan, a plastic sack manufacturer in Bangalore, is worth mentioning. He found an impressive solution to beat the ever-increasing problem of plastic waste. About 8 years ago, his company developed Polyblend, a fine powder of recycled modified plastic. This material was mixed with bitumen and used in the construction of roads. In fact, in collaboration with RV College of Engineering and the Bangalore City Corporation, Ahmad Khan was successful in proving that the lifespan of such roads increased 3 times.